Nothing like it in the world. The Men Who Built the Transcontinental Railroad, 1863 to 1869, is a narrative history by Stephen E. Ambrose, first published in 2000. The book chronicles the construction of America's first transcontinental railroad during the second half of the 19th century, a monumental and unprecedented feat of engineering for its time. In addition to Ambrose's engaging narrative, the book includes 32 pages of black and white photographs of the workers and machinery involved, along with several maps that help illustrate the scope of the project. Ambrose opens the book with a bold claim. Next to winning the Civil War and abolishing slavery, building the first transcontinental railroad from Omaha, Nebraska to Sacramento, California, was the greatest achievement of the American people in the 19th century. This line sets the tone for the rest of the work, celebratory and reverent, underscoring the historical weight Ambrose attributes to the railroad's completion. Despite its immediate commercial success, thanks to Ambrose's accessible writing and unusual prominence as a historian, the book has faced persistent criticism for factual inaccuracies, careless research, and even accusations of plagiarism. Ambrose structures the narrative chronologically, beginning with the early surveyors who charted the potential routes. From there, he turns to the financiers and political insiders who managed and frequently tried to profit unethically from the massive enterprise, before focusing on the thousands of laborers who performed the back-breaking work of laying track across the continent. That work was grueling. The Central Pacific Railroad began in Sacramento and pushed eastward, while its rival, the Union Pacific, started in Omaha and built westward. Both raced toward each other until they met at Promontory Summit, Utah, where the ceremonial Golden Spike was driven in May 1869. The journey to that moment was fraught with obstacles. Crews battled harsh and often mountainous terrain, including the towering Rockies, and endured punishing weather that strained already unreliable supply lines. Labor shortages were constant, and the workforce, made up largely of Chinese immigrants, Irishmen, and Mormons, was underpaid and relentlessly overworked. The labor carried out on the Transcontinental Railroad was in many ways extraordinary. At one point, workers managed to lay 10 miles of track in a single day, a record-breaking accomplishment. Yet despite such feats, pressure to accelerate the construction schedule remained intense. In practice, this often meant sacrificing safety for speed. One unintended but significant outcome of this urgency was the emergence of a highly efficient construction system. Each worker was assigned a single repetitive task: laying ties, positioning rails, hammering spikes, creating an assembly line style of labor that would later influence industrial pioneers like Henry Ford. Not everyone welcomed the railroad's advance. Unsurprisingly, Native American tribes through whose lands the tracks passed saw it as a direct and unwelcome intrusion, and tensions were high throughout the project. Ambrose devotes much of the book to the colorful and often ethically dubious individuals who orchestrated the railroad's construction. He highlights the so-called Big Four of the Central Pacific: Leland Stanford, Collis Huntington, Charles Crocker, and Mark Hopkins, as well as Union Pacific's Thomas "Doc" Durant and his loyal subordinate, General Grenville Dodge. However, Ambrose reserves particular admiration for President Abraham Lincoln. While Lincoln is rightly celebrated for ending slavery, Ambrose emphasizes that he also championed the Transcontinental Railroad as one of his signature initiatives. Lincoln saw the railroad as vital to reuniting a country fractured by civil war and as a transformative force for economic growth, drastically reducing coast-to-coast travel time from weeks by sea to just days by rail. Nothing like it in the world. The Men Who Built the Transcontinental Railroad, 1863 to 1869, is one of many bestsellers by Stephen E. Ambrose. However, it was never intended to be a rigorous academic study. The book has drawn criticism for its sloppy research and occasional inaccuracies, and while it tells a compelling and generally accurate story, readers looking for a strictly factual, detail-oriented account of the railroad's construction would do well to consult additional sources. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.